In the news this week, On the Road with Zach, an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at the State Opposition Leaders' Day.
Calls of racism as a mother demands answers for her Indigenous son's death after he was refused entry to a train.
Safe and strong, WA loosening restrictions on the road to recovery.
And on Western Perspective, an exclusive interview with Zach Kirkup on the campaign trail. Plus, Dr. Miller's COVID comment.
This is the Evening News with Ivan Lowe and Sarah Smith.
A grieving mother has demanded the truth about her Indigenous son's death after he was refused entry on the late-night train in Fremantle.
Marlon Johns was hit by a train early on Monday morning after being singled out by a transit guard. Family and friends are calling it racism. The victim's family spoke exclusively to Nelson Liu.
A grieving mother devastated at the loss of her son, a young Indigenous man just trying to come home.
Overwhelmed, angry, hurt.
Cheryl Butcher is demanding answers for Marlon Johns' death after he was hit by a train following a night out with a mate in Fremantle last weekend.
It should not have happened.
Cheryl told WAMN News Marlon's friend that night recalled a female transit guard at Fremantle Station, stopping Marlon from boarding the last free train home to Armidale early on Monday morning. Marlon left the station to avoid an altercation after the guard identified him by name.
It wasn't trouble because of his present. It was all because of who he was and the trouble that he had.
He climbed the fence to follow the train line home when he was hit. His family only notified at 7 p.m. that evening. Cheryl wants to know why Marlon wasn't allowed on the train, refuting claims he was drunk, stating the act caused Marlon's death.
It was the transit guard who singled him out completely. And that's where the trouble has started.
Family and friends took to the streets on Thursday in a procession to Fremantle Station. They placed photos and flowers in Marlon's memory, many shocked at his passing.
We were gobsmacked, it just floored us.
It's upsetting, it broke our hearts, hey?
Family members demanded an investigation into Marlon's death, stating it was caused by systemic racism. The family says if there are no answers, there will be riots bigger than those for Elijah Doughty, despite not wanting violence.
I'm telling you right now, what is coming for you, and I can't stop them.
The Public Transport Authority has since issued a statement commenting on the accident. It says transit officers requested 2 men leave the station following complaints of antisocial behaviour. They also confirmed one of the men was walking along the train tracks when he was hit just before 3 a.m, the reason unclear. But Cheryl promises she won't rest until she gets the truth for her son, who was loved by many. This memorial for Marlon remembers an Indigenous life that could have been, as his family and friends call for answers for a death that could have been avoided. Nelson Liu, WAMN News.
The state election is less than a week away, a fact that Liberal leader Zach Kirkup is acutely aware of. He's been counting down the days on Twitter since last year. It's a tough gig. The Liberals are facing a premier with unprecedented popularity levels. But can Zach's new strategy salvage something for the party? We spent a day on the campaign trail with him to bring you the behind-the-scenes scoop. With less than 1 week to go before the state election, 34-year-old Liberal leader Zach Kirkup faces his defining moment in politics, running against WA's most popular Labour Premier, Mark McGowan. The election on the 13th of March will determine whether Zach will keep his job as the Liberal Party faces a potential wipeout. As the election heats up, you've seen Zach on TV, heard him on radio and read about him in the newspapers online. But who is the man behind the microphones on the podium? WAMN News follows the opposition leader for an exclusive behind-the-scenes look on his morning campaign trail to get a better understanding of Zach Kirkup himself. It's a warm, sunny morning at Labratron Cafe in Dawesville, where Mr. Kirkup started the day with a live radio debate on the ABC, going head-to-head against Mandurah Labour MP and Minister David Templeman. After that, he took calls and answered questions from listeners live. It's a challenging half hour of argument and persuasion on live radio, especially when his opponent is sitting right next to him. After a brief chat with locals, it's time to get moving. Where are you going now?
Thank you, mate. Thank you. We're off to the Falcon Free Ball.
Okay, see you then.
See you, Ivan.
His schedule is literally packed down to the minute, doing as much as he humanly possible to get the message out there. After a quick stop at the pre-polling station in Falcon, it's time for a surprise visit to the Spill the Beans Cafe in Horsehead. Chatting with local residents and business owners, listening and responding to the community's concern, he vows to hold the government accountable. This is political fight back, Zack Kirkup style. Changing strategies at the middle of the election campaign is risky, but will it be enough to get more Liberals over the line? Do you believe your strategy has caught Labor by surprise?
Well, it's not a strategy. I mean, it's just being honest. And if that's caught anyone by surprise or upset anyone, I can't apologise for being honest to the people of WA, and that's all this is.
It's very rare for a camera to enter your lives like this. Do you hope that people understand you more?
Well, I'm looking forward to hoping. From my perspective, I think it's important. I've been very honest and open with the people of Western Australia about where we find ourselves, and I hope that this helps give some insight into who we are and what we do.
So, has his charmed offensive worked locally? You met Zack today?
I did meet Zack.
Finally?
Yes, finally. Yeah.
So you get to see the person, I suppose, behind the podium and the microphone. What do you make of it?
Oh, he's a lovely guy. He seemed very, very helpful and sort of genuine. So, you know, I wish him luck. And, he seems like he wants to really help the community.
He's great on the constituency level. That's all. And he's a very personable young man.
After spending time with the locals, it's time to visit residents who are keen to see Zack in person. Leaving on time is essential.
Next one is where you go? We're off to Lynn and John's place in Falcon, which should be really good.
All right, see you there.
See you there.
Going all the way to meet Lynn and John revealed the importance of community engagement during the campaign as they gave him their support in front of the media. It's here you find a familiar setting for the public, the press conference with the media, where Zack responded to questions of the day from journalists.
If there was no strong opposition in the West Australian Parliament, Labor could get away with whatever they want, and I think that's a very real risk for the future of Western Australia.
Zack, National Cabinet's meeting on Friday. Do you agree with your Liberal colleagues interstate that WA should be part of a national framework for managing border controls?
I think at some point in time, when we are all free from community transmission, on the advice of the Chief Health Officers, we need to look at making sure there's better certainty to travel between the states, but it needs to be done in a way that's safe and informed by our public health experts.
And after the grueling press conference, our trip ends here. But for Zack, the long-haul journey doesn't stop. There's still plenty to do before polling day.
It hasn't been manned to a pre-poll now either.
All right, still got a long way to go ahead.
Still got a lot to do today, that's right. All right, we'll see you soon.
I'll see you tomorrow.
There's been lots of good news this week in the fight against COVID-19, with vaccines flying into the state and rolling out to frontline workers. Premier Mark McGowan has announced the loosening of the state's COVID restrictions for both West Aussies and travellers from around the nation. Helene Fung has the details.
It's going to take time, but WA is well on the road to life as we used to know it, with a raft of loosened restrictions coming in on the 15th of March. Venues will increase capacity from 50% to 75%, allowing more patrons to check in with Safe WA and enjoy WA's hospitality and entertainment venues.
Will be welcome news for many in our hospitality sector. We know many of our businesses have been thriving under WA's unique approach, and we hope this change will assist them even further.
The vaccine rollout will continue. 5,500 frontline workers have already received the first jab, and another 220,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine arrived in the state this week. With Victoria to be downgraded from low risk to very low risk, travellers from anywhere in Australia will soon be able to come to WA without a mandatory 2-week quarantine. Helene Fung, WAMN News.
Minister for Racing and Gaming Paul Papalia has announced the Royal Commission into Crown Perth's suitability to hold a gaming licence. The Commission will assess all actual and perceived conflicts of interest within the framework of the company's operations. Kit Sanders reports.
Minister Papalia says the Gaming and Wagering Commission has already directed Crown to no longer hold junkets and to obtain the Commission's approval to establish gaming bank accounts to ensure the activities highlighted in the Bergen inquiry cannot occur.
Directed that the we asked the Gaming and Wagering Commission to establish, they already have a relationship with other regulators, but we asked that they pursue a working group or establish a working group with the New South Wales and Victorian regulators with a view to ensuring that whatever response is made to the findings of the Bergen inquiry and subsequent inquiries, we harmonise where possible our response.
2 former Supreme Court judges and a former Auditor General will preside over investigations. They are expected to present an interim report by June 30 and final recommendations by November. The investigation comes after evidence of money laundering and links to organised crime.
I wish to stress that whilst it might be unusual to set up a Royal Commission during a caretaker period, I personally had consulted with the Leader of the Opposition and told him why this needed to transform from an independent inquiry under the Casino Control Act into a Royal Commission. And Mr Kirkup totally concurred with that because he could recall the amendment required under the Electoral Commission Act to give it protections and immunities.
Authorities will also be working in conjunction with their New South Wales counterparts, who are undertaking similar investigations of other Crown entities. Kit Sanders, WAMN News.
Police are working to identify 2 victims of an ultralight aircraft crash just outside of Exmouth. Police were alerted that the aircraft was overdue to land at 4:30 p.m. Wednesday and found the crash site around 6:30 p.m. the same evening. Police and other emergency services worked through the night to recover the bodies of the male pilot and female passenger. The pair are yet to be formally identified, but the community is working with police.
Focus is on that identification process so that we can bring some closure, I suppose, to the families, and then it will be about their coronial investigation.
Police are hunting a man who stabbed a 22-year-old pregnant woman in the abdomen and leg multiple times outside her family's Huntingdale residence. The man is described as being tall and muscular, with light skin and dark hair. He was last seen wearing a coloured pants, shoes, thin fabric hoodie and a COVID-style face mask. The victim is currently receiving treatment in hospital. Both she and her unborn child are in a stable condition. The attacker fled the crime scene on foot. Police are asking anyone with information to call Crime Stoppers.
We're not ruling anything out. Obviously, there's a large number of main roads in the area, and so we're just having a look at any egress or ingress points into the area. It's a disgusting crime in our community and something that we will do everything in our power to bring the person to justice for.
Swedish police are investigating a possible terror incident after a man stabbed and injured at least 7 people in southern Sweden. The man was in his 20s and was taken to hospital after being shot by police in the leg during the attack. 3 of the victims suffered life-threatening injuries and another 2 are in a serious condition. The United States has sanctioned 7 senior Russian officials over the August 2020 poisoning of jailed Russian opposition leader and anti-corruption activist Alexei Navalny. A senior American official told reporters that the US intelligence community can say with high confidence that the Russian Federal Security Service was behind the attempt on Navalny's life. He has been an outspoken critic of Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Joondalup local Jenny Lynn Andrews has started 3 local orchestras since September 2020, with more than 100 members ranging from the age of 6 to 72, who are all skill levels. 2 groups operate out of Joondalup, the first group of their kind in the area, and 1 operates out of Rockingham. There are plans to create another group in the Hills area. Jenny Lynn says people have really loved the opportunity to get back to their music, especially after periods of lockdown. Ms. Andrews says that the first group are focusing on movie-themed music this year, as it is accessible and fun, while still being orchestral.
We do want to make our music accessible, so we try and choose the most accessible music, things that people would like, even though they may not have heard them before.
Keep their eye out on their performances by visiting their social media pages or website, Northern Lights WA.
And that's our weekly news and current affairs. For the latest, please go to our website, wamnnews.com.au.
Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, YouTube or Google News for the latest news articles. Until next Sunday evening, from Sarah and myself, we wish you good health and good night.
Thanks for watching.